I'm sharing a reading experience. I'm reading from a book called What I Heard, and I'm sharing it with you now. I hope you listen and receive something worthwhile from this. This video might inspire you to read what I did. It's my hope that you'll search for the best books and gain information and ideas to help you to become a better person. The more you read, the better you'll think, and the better you think, the more you'll be able to face life's challenges successfully. Moses writes his people's Genesis. I fled Egypt and gratefully worked as a shepherd for many years. I married and have a family and flocks. That you, my children and people, may have this for your learning, I will write down our oral history beginning with our first parents. Our first parents taught us that sin has consequences. It's a good thing to have control and do what's right, but when you refuse, watch out. Sin is crouching at the door and is eager to control you. You must learn to subdue sin. You, not sin, must be in charge of your life. When you let sin influence your choices, you not only destroy yourselves, you also influence others, which can destroy your community. Before man saw rainbow or blue sky, because of the constant covering of fog and cloud, we all lived in a rich garden. The soil was never too dry to grow plants, and it was warm enough that there was plenty to eat all year round. It was a very different place where all living things were more diverse, bigger, and lived longer than now. There were only shallow valleys and rolling hills rather than the snow capped peaks overseeing the desert. Back in that time, the land and the people were all one. Men began to indulge in evil things rather than to suppress sin. God sent good people to tell us that the Lord would not tolerate such behavior much longer. 120 years before man was nearly wiped out, a farmer named Noah started to build a sanctuary. When it was time, his family and many animals entered the finished sanctuary and were saved. Something suddenly happened where there were mighty torrents of water that erupted from the ground and mighty torrents of rain which came from the sky. There was so much water everywhere that even the hills were completely covered. In that sanctuary, Noah and his family were safe, but Ham brought evil with him. Today's Ham's descendants are the Philistines, the Canaanites, and the Hittites. One of the many crimes of Ham was stealing and hiding Adam's coat made by the Lord. Adam's God-made garment was given to Enoch, who gave it to Methuselah, who gave it to Noah. No descendant put it on until Ham's grandson Nimrod owned it. Ham hid Adam's God-made garment from Noah and gave it to his firstborn son Cush, who then gave it to his son Nimrod. The stolen coat made Nimrod have unusual powers when he wore it, and he became the first heroic warrior. By all of his victories, he established the first great empire of man. From that time on, if anyone became a mighty warrior, they compared him to Nimrod. When man was beginning to grow, but still small in number, we had only 730 men in our entire clan. We started to notice the earth was now separating. The separation began in the days of our ancestor Peleg, who was named for this division of all things. Not many generations after this, Abram was born. Abram, our exalted father, became Abraham, the father of many. He believed in the Lord, and the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith. Abraham bore Isaac, and Isaac, at 60 years old, fathered Jacob. Jacob left his family as the sun was setting. When Jacob entered into a covenant with God, he saw God's face. He named the place where he saw God's face Peniel, or the face of God. Jacob had many sons, but his favorite was Joseph, because Joseph was the son of his favorite wife. This led his other sons to conspire, and they sold Joseph as a slave. Then they faked his death to hide what they had done. They thought he would die alone and be forgotten. But this is not what happened. Joseph was sold into Egypt. There he rose to great power. Pharaoh named Joseph Zanfanat Apanaha, which means God's power of life and death. Joseph married Osnat, daughter of Potipharah, the high priest of Hupolis, city of the sun god Ra. Osnat bore Joseph two sons, Methuselah and Ephraim, who were considered Egyptian high nobility. Rather than seeking revenge for his brother's actions, Joseph counted it as divine will and blessed his brothers and their families. In all, Joseph brought 70 members of his family to live with him in Egypt. That was over 400 years ago, and the people of Israel are still in Egypt and now number in the millions of people. So ends the year 1440 BC. There are only so many words to describe what we're thinking about. Additionally, we all seem to be unaware that every word and phrase we use is because of someone else. Sometimes the source is remembered, but most of the time it isn't. I likewise am influenced by what I hear, see, and read. I take it in, I mix it around a bit, and spew some of it back out. Sometimes add chocolate sauce with a cherry on top. This book is the same. I read, but I might come up with more of a conclusion than you might. It is my suggestion that if you find this material interesting, you'll read it for yourself to see if you focus in on the same things. My bet is that you'll see something slightly, if not altogether, different. I wish you the best in your happy readings. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, adios.